Ashley, thank you. President Biden spending Labor Day in battleground states, Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, touting his agenda for the working class. But is that message resonating with Americans who are still being crushed by inflation and who now have to pick up the tab for Biden's $500 billion with a B dollar student loan bailout? I'm joined now by a panel of everyday American workers. Tony Salas, president of the Texas Supply Chain Coalition, and welder/rancher Lynn Allen. Lynn, I'll begin with you. How excited are you to be paying for that gender studies degree for somebody from Massachusetts through your back-breaking work as a welder and a rancher?
Good morning. I think it's just all he's doing is trying to buy a vote. I've got a 21-year-old boy right now that I've been putting through college going to become a Texas State game warden. And I can tell you, it ain't any different than what the illegals is coming across. Anymore, if you're a working man's got a family, you're not going to give to your own family. You're going to be giving it to this man that's setting up everything for other people just to try to buy a vote. It ain't any different than the illegals. It's a vote buying scheme, and it ain't nothing to do with this trying to give these student loan debts. It's nothing but a vote buying deal, because I can tell you right now, Biden and his administration is more scared of Donald J. Trump than they are a diamondback rattlesnake.
Interesting. Tony, Biden will use Labor Day to tout his everyman, I'll call it a facade, but don't his policies consistently ignore the plight of the working man and working woman?
Absolutely. Look, there's no doubt that the cost of education has increased 169% from the year 1980 to 2020. Unfortunately, compensation has not really kept up with that increase. And so what we have is an education industrial complex that leaves the average American with a massive amount of debt. Now, when we have a national inflation crisis like we have right now, the answer is not to throw more money into the system. That's simple, bad math. It's bad economics. If President Biden really wants to help students, he needs to have candid conversations with leaders of higher ed institutions about lowering the cost of education. Perhaps that money should come from those higher ed institutions that raise their costs to begin with instead of the American taxpayer.
Inflation currently at 8.5%, outpacing wage growth with is just over 5%. Tony, what are your members telling you about just trying to get by day by day?
You know, it's becoming increasingly hard to just go to the grocery store and to put food on the table. And what we're hearing is that they really want to keep more of their hard-earned money. And in times like this, it's not about spending $500 billion. I get that he wants to do good things, but it would really help if we can just keep more of our hard-earned money.
Lynn, at the end of the day, Biden has the support of leadership from the unions. But the rank and file in these unions, the men and women who are doing, like I said, the back-breaking labor day in and day out, do they support President Biden?
You know,
No.
I think it's
Sorry, that was for Lynn, Tony. I'll ask you as well, but Lynn, please.
No, they don't support Biden. None. There's not been just maybe one out of 100 that I've worked with that supported Biden. Let me tell you something. Biden has cut the union's throat, especially the oil and gas workers. I mean, this man right here has cut us down to nothing. And the thing about it is we're having to do other stuff that we're not accustomed to doing. And right now in the oil and gas industries, only the best is going to survive. This man right here does not care nothing about a union.
Tony, same question to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think politics is very emotional. And unfortunately, during these times, it's not about emotions when you're going to the checkout at the grocery store. It's about real math. And it's just really, really hard to support somebody when it's just hard to put food on your table for your family.
Tony, we keep seeing polls tightening in these battleground states. Do you have a sense as to who these people are that are not just voting for the Biden agenda, but the candidates themselves who espouse that agenda on the Democratic side? Because quite frankly, Tony, I live in a Democratic state, and I don't know one person who's enthusiastic about the Biden agenda and all the harm that it does to just the straight up middle class.
Yeah. I mean, I think when we look a couple years before the national inflation crisis, it's always fun to have good debates between Republicans and Democrats. But right now, I mean, this is more than a debate. This is our livelihood. And I'm just not hearing a lot of support even from Democrats. So I think people just really want somebody to go in and make a real change outside of just going in and spending a lot of money.
Lynn, final word to you. We first introduced ourselves to you, or you introduced yourself to us, at the time when you got laid off, Keystone Pipeline. Has anything improved in the intervening months?
No. There's still so many people that's struggling in this industry right now. In my belief, the oil and gas the industry is the whole backbone of the United States of America. But of course, you've got a man up here that I still believe that the election was frauded, and he is totally against oil and gas. We're trying to go electric. Look at California. Look at all of the hurting people. Look at your inflation, like this other fella was saying. Let me tell you something. You go to the grocery store, at the end of the day, after you get through grocery shopping, you're thinking, wow, it's going to be hard to survive this winter.
And that's scary, because winter is the time when more people die, because it gets cold, they turn off their heat, and they freeze to death, and that's scary. Tony and Lynn, thank you. Appreciate it.